As you sip your morning coffee and look through the window into your backyard, the thought almost never crosses your mind. Is that tree actually there? It sounds insane. Of course it's there. You can smell the spring morning, see the texture of the bark, hear the birds in the branches. Almost anyone would say the tree exists and wouldn't even entertain a debate about something so obvious. You'd probably think that anyone claiming otherwise was losing their mind. But what if I told you that the most precise science humanity has ever developed, quantum mechanics, quietly suggests you might be wrong? What if that tree is only there because you decided to look at it?
Where logic bends and mysteries unfold. This is Mind Paradox.
And today, we are going to erase the past. It all began with light, that subtle boundary between the visible and the invisible. For decades, we've known about a fundamental paradox. Light acts like a wave until we watch it, at which point it behaves like a particle. It's as if nature is shy under our gaze. But in 1999, a scientist named Yoon-Ho Kim decided to set the ultimate trap. He wanted to see what nature would do if we stole its secret, and then deliberately burned the evidence. They built a machine that resembles a labyrinth of mirrors and specialized crystals. They sent a single particle of light on a journey. But along the way, they split it into two identical twins. The first twin, the executor, goes straight to the screen and leaves a mark. Its story, as far as we can see, is over. The second twin, the witness, carries the information of which path its brother took. It is the evidence. But here is where it becomes a thriller. You might think a particle simply bounces off a mirror like your reflection in the bathroom. But these mirrors are traps. They are semi-transparent. They don't just reflect light. They force it into an impossible choice, to pass through and reflect at the exact same time. Think of it like two streams of water flowing into the same pool. Once they're in, you can no longer tell which droplet came from which stream. The information is effectively destroyed. The particle's passport is shredded. Even the universe, from our point of view, can no longer say which path it took. And then, something happened that seemed to stun the scientific community. The moment the information about the witness was erased in the labyrinth, and scientists looked only at a selected subset of the data. They saw a pattern that looks as if its twin brother, which had already hit the screen long ago, had changed its mind and reverted to a wave-like pattern. Our decision in the future about what information to keep or erase appears to decide whether the particle in the past shows a clear, particle-like mark, or hides inside a mysterious interference pattern. From the perspective of a normal observer, it looks as if a choice made in the future reaches back and rewrites the story of the past. If there is no witness, there is no crime against logic. The past seems to reset itself. To understand how this is even possible, we have to dismantle a second great lie, the lie of a solid world. That tree in the yard, the table you're sitting at. Physicist Niels Bohr would tell you they aren't actually solid objects in the way you think. 99.9-9-9-9-9-9% of every atom is empty space. Imagine the nucleus of an atom is the size of a fly, hovering in the dead center of a massive football stadium. The electrons would be like mosquitoes circling around the highest rows of the stands. Everything in between the fly and the mosquitoes is a haunting nothingness. If you remove that emptiness from every atom making up the human race, all 8 billion of us could fit inside a single sugar cube. but that sugar cube would still weigh billions of tons. So why can't you put your hand through a wall? Why don't you fall straight through the floor you're standing on? Because touch is one of the greatest illusions of the brain. You have never truly touched anything. When you press your hand against a table, what you actually feel is the electric fields of your atoms repelling the electric fields of the table. It's like trying to push two identical poles of a magnet together. They never truly touch, but you feel the invisible wall of energy pushing back. Nobel laureate Frank Wilczek describes matter as trapped energy. Imagine a fan spinning so fast you can't see the blades. It looks like a solid disc. Try to push your hand through it, and it hits you. But it's still just empty space and motion. We are light that has slowed down, enough to become tangible. We live in a world of ghosts, pretending to be solid. And the only glue holding that energy in the shape of a tree or a table is information. In that experiment with mirrors, we didn't grab the particles and physically drag them around. We only changed the information about what happened, and the patterns we see in our present reality shifted. The moment you change the information, the entire tower of cards we call reality begins to wobble. This isn't just laboratory science fiction. These ideas start to look like bugs in your reality. Take the most common example, the lost car keys. You look for them on the dresser. You know they're there. You check the same spot 3 times, but the dresser is empty. You go into another room, come back a minute later, and there they are, right in the middle, impossibly obvious. Most people shrug, blame stress or distraction, and move on. But if we look at it through the metaphor of the quantum eraser, a different explanation appears. While you were searching with the absolute conviction that the keys were not there, your consciousness smudged the information. In your inner version of reality, the keys stopped being a clear, fixed object and slipped into a sort of probability state. Only when you briefly broke your focus, reset your attention, and looked again. Did the universe, in your experience, re-render the keys back where they should be? They weren't physically teleported. They were missing from the story your mind was telling until your awareness locked them back into place. And what about that eerie feeling of déjà vu? Up to now, you've been told it's just a glitch in the brain. But in the metaphor of our twin particles, déjà vu is the moment your consciousness, for a split second, picks up a signal from both twins at once. You live through a moment in the present, but your mind is also catching the echo of the other path, the path the quantum eraser has just removed from the official version of events. Déjà vu isn't a memory of something that already happened. It's a memory of a timeline the universe just decided to cancel. You're feeling the draft left behind as the past quietly rearranges itself in front of your eyes. In that same framework, even the Mandela Effect starts to make unsettling sense. Millions of people remember details that, according to the official record, never existed. Maybe those aren't just false memories. Maybe they are people holding a passport from a version of reality whose information has been shredded. In that cosmic hall of mirrors, the universe changed the official recording of the game, but the original file is still saved in your mind. We don't live in a world of fixed facts. We live in a world that is constantly editing itself, trying very hard to hide the seams where the cuts have been made. We are witnesses who remember too much in a universe that doesn't want to leave any evidence. So look at that tree one last time. Before you turn away, is it really there? Perhaps the most accurate and most unsettling answer science can offer is, it depends on you. You aren't just an accidental traveler in this cinema we call life. You aren't just a passive observer recording events. According to the logic of the quantum eraser, you are the screenwriter, the director, and the ruthless editor in the darkroom who can cut a scene they don't like and erase it from existence forever. If information about the past depends on your choices in the present, then the history of the universe is one long, unbroken conversation between you and infinite possibilities. Every time you learn something, you lock in one version of reality. Every time you forget, look away, or refuse to see, you allow the universe to dissolve back into a state of possibility. The universe is not a cold machine made of bricks and iron. It is a thought. So the next time you feel the ground shift beneath your feet, or when the world seems to blink for a moment, don't be afraid. Take it as a reminder that you are not just inside the matrix. You are one of the minds quietly rewriting it. This is Mind Paradox. Stay curious.